Alliance on Air, le podcast de l'Alliance Française Bangkok.
Podcast ของสมาคมฝรั่งเศสกรุงเทพ
Bonjour, สวัสดีค่ะ Bienvenue sur Parlez-vous français, le podcast dédié à la langue française et son apprentissage.
ยินดีต้อนรับสู่ Parlez-vous ฝรั่งเศสพอดแคสต์สำหรับคนรักภาษาและการเรียนฝรั่งเศส
Hello everyone, I'm Julia. I'm the librarian at the Alliance Française in Bangkok, and today we are receiving VILLENA, a Spanish photographer, to present his last photography book called Pilgrimages, which is an insight into the working environments in Asia. But today we're not here to talk about photography, but rather to talk about your experience learning French. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Can you introduce yourself to the people who are listening to us?
My name is VILLENA. I'm a Spanish photographer and culture manager from Barcelona, but I live in Paris.
Ooh, that sounds very interesting. How did you end up in Paris?
It's a question of love.
Oh.
I fell in love with someone while I was on holidays in Spain once, but I was living in London at that time. And since we fell in love, I moved to Paris.
Oh, that's very lovely. And you moved to Paris, but were you speaking French when you moved to Paris?
No, I didn't speak French.
That is a challenge.
Yeah. It's always a challenge when you move somewhere you don't speak the language. So
Yeah, I think you speak 6 languages?
Yes, I speak 6 languages.
That is insane.
I was raised bilingual because where I come from in Spain, we speak 2 languages. So we speak Spanish and Catalan. And then, of course, everyone studies English at school. And then I did a little bit of French, but it was 3 years. I didn't pay much attention to it. I also speak Italian and I speak Japanese as well.
Very impressive. So you moved to Paris and you know very basic school French.
Yeah, it was just bonjour and a smile.
Good start. And how did you manage to learn French from there?
What I did was just dive into conversation with people and read. I was reading a lot of things in French because it's easier to read it than to hear it. So reading would help me a lot to understand what people were saying. And then, force yourself and jump and start speaking. You will do mistakes, but you have to do it. Otherwise, you will never learn. So that's what I did.
That makes sense. Well done. And I guess French people might not have been very helpful. Were they speaking English or were they just strictly speaking French?
It depends because sometimes I had conversations with people, very simple, basic conversations with people that didn't speak English at all. So it was a way to start. But then sometimes people would speak English and they would cut the conversation in French. But I think we all do the same. In Spanish, we would do the same thing. If I'm able to speak in English to you, I would rather speak to you in English rather than Spanish, I think. I don't know. Because that will make the conversation more easy
No, it makes sense. So you're from a neighboring country to France. Did you have any cultural shock, an experience that was very weird?
Yeah, because I think, of course, we all have an idea of how other people is. And I was living in London at that time and coming from Southern European country. So I thought French people was a bit more sort of similar to English or Dutch. But actually, I find French people quite similar to us, very passionate, and they can be very loud and strong character. So, yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. We all drink wine. That's good.
Yes. So you use French in your everyday life, but is it useful as well in your line of work?
Yes, because, for example, now everything I do, I'm publishing the book with a French publisher, so all the communication has to be done in French. I speak also with people from the University of Paris, and everything is done in French. So basically my work life and my private life are mostly in French now. Because with my husband, we speak in French. We text in English, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
How come?
Because we met and we both spoke English. So after I moved to France and I started learning French, that's a kind of conversation we have. Orally we speak French, but through text it's in English. And it's weird, but yeah.
Yeah, that's very funny. And then lastly, do you have any advice for people who want to learn French, but they're a bit scared? What do you want to tell them?
Jump into it because it's really interesting. Learning a new language always helps you discover things about yourself. And French is really interesting in terms of metaphors. I find it, for me, it's really nice. Not just poetic, but really nice to use metaphors to talk about different things you want to express and reason about. And don't be afraid of making mistakes because we all do. And don't be afraid of having an accent because you will always have one. And have fun.
Yeah, I think learning a language is fun. That is true. So what did you learn about yourself when you learned French?
What did I learn about myself? That I can be more serious than I thought. What I've learned a lot about being Spanish, actually. And because that kind of confronted me with my Spanish side. And I think it was really interesting sort of going back again to my roots by learning a new language.
No, that's very interesting. That's really good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
For all the answers to my questions. We will also have another podcast talking about your work as a photographer. So if you are interested in that, please look it up. And we've left some links as well if you're interested to know more about VILLENAs. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you, Julia. Thank you.
Thank you. And have all a lovely day. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Vous avez aimé cet épisode? Ne ratez pas le prochain sur Alliance on Air.
หากคุณชอบเอพิโซดนี้อย่าพลาดตอนถัดไปที่ Alliance on Air